the enchanted Christmas star, listen and learn English. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom called Everbright, winter was the most magical season of all. Snowflakes danced in the wind like tiny fairies, and the trees sparkled as if covered in silver dust. The people of Everbright loved Christmas, for it was a time of joy, warmth, and kindness. But this year, something was different. The great Christmas star, which shone from the top of Crystal Mountain every Christmas Eve, was missing. For centuries, it had been a beacon of joy and wonder, its light guiding travelers and filling the hearts of the kingdom with warmth. The star was said to be a gift from the heavens, placed upon Crystal Mountain by the angels themselves. Legends whispered that its glow came from the love and kindness shared among the people of Everbright. But now, its absence left the kingdom shrouded in gloom, as if the very heart of Christmas had gone astray. Villagers gathered in the town square, murmuring their fears and wondering if the star's disappearance was a sign of misfortune. Children pressed their faces against frosty windows, looking out at the empty sky with longing. Even the snow seemed less sparkly, its usual charm dampened by the shadow of the missing star. Hope, once abundant, now felt like a fragile ember struggling to survive the cold winds of doubt. The Christmas star was no ordinary star. It was a symbol of hope and happiness. When it appeared in the night sky, its golden light filled the hearts of everyone in the kingdom with peace and love. It was said that the star's light could banish the darkest fears and heal the deepest wounds in people's hearts. Children would make wishes upon its glow, believing it could make their dreams come true. Travelers often paused on their journeys to admire the star, feeling a renewed sense of purpose as they continued on their way. Without the star, the land felt colder and darker than ever before. People whispered that even the animals of the forest seemed to miss the star, their usual lively chatter replaced by silence. The nights grew longer, and the villagers' spirits sank with every passing day. Farmers noticed their crops seemed less vibrant, and the wind carried a somber tone through the empty fields. The absence of the star was more than just a loss of light. It was as if the kingdom's very soul was dimmed. Clara, like many others, felt the weight of the missing star deeply, her heart heavy with the longing for its return. In a small village, at the edge of the kingdom, lived a girl named Clara. Clara had big, curious eyes and a heart full of courage. She loved Christmas more than anything. Every year, she waited eagerly to see the Christmas star light up the sky. When it didn't appear this year, she felt a deep sadness. She would sit by her window every night, hoping for even a glimmer of its golden light, but the sky remained empty. Her friends tried to cheer her up with stories and songs, but nothing could replace the star's magic. Clara's village was full of festive decorations and cheerful laughter, yet her heart ached for the missing light. She noticed how her neighbors seemed less joyful too, their smiles not as bright as they used to be. Even the Christmas tree in the town square looked dimmer without the star shining above it. Clara often found herself staring at the distant mountains, wondering if the star could somehow be rescued. She felt a growing determination within her, a small but unshakable belief that she could do something to bring back its light. She spoke to the animals she met in the snowy woods, sharing her wish to see the star return. Although she was just a young girl, Clara's heart was filled with hope and courage, enough to spark a tiny flame of possibility. "Why isn't the star shining?" Clara asked her grandmother, who was wise and kind. Her grandmother sighed and said, "The star's magic is fading because the people of Everbright have true meaning of Christmas. They have become busy with their own worries and have forgotten about kindness, love, and sharing. People no longer gather to share stories by the fire, nor do they sing carols that warm the soul. Instead of helping one another, they rush past those in need, focused only on their own tasks. Even the old tradition of exchanging handmade gifts, which carried so much love, has been forgotten. Without these acts of generosity and connection, the magic that fuels the star has grown weak. It's as if the spirit of Christmas has been replaced by silence and shadows. The animals in the forest no longer dance under the star's glow, and the rivers, once full of music, now flow quietly. To restore the star's light, the people of Everbright must remember what it means to truly give from the heart. Only then can the star regain its power and shine once more. Clara's heart ached at these words. "What can we do to bring the star back?" she asked. Her grandmother smiled gently. "The star can be restored, but it requires someone brave and pure of heart to journey to Crystal Mountain and find it. Only then can its light shine again." Clara decided at once. "I will go to Crystal Mountain and bring back the Christmas star." The next morning, Clara packed a small bag with bread, cheese, and her warmest scarf. Her grandmother gave her a magical lantern that could guide her through the darkest nights. "This lantern will light your way," her grandmother said. "But remember, its flame grows brighter with every act of kindness you do." Clara held the lantern carefully, marveling at its soft glow that seemed to pulse gently, as if it were alive. She wondered how such a small object could help her on such a big journey. Her grandmother kissed her forehead and added, "Let your heart guide you, Clara, for it knows the way even when the path seems uncertain." Clara hugged her tightly, feeling a surge of courage within her. As she stepped out into the frosty morning, she noticed the snowflakes sparkling like tiny stars on the ground, as if cheering her on. The village seemed quieter than usual, the festive decorations hanging limply in the absence of the star's magic. Clara's neighbors watched her leave with hopeful eyes, their silent wishes following her like an invisible wind. She took one last look at her home before setting off, the weight of the star's return resting firmly on her young shoulders. As the cold wind brushed her face, Clara tightened her scarf and whispered to herself, "I will not fail." The magical lantern flickered brighter for a moment, as if it heard her determination, and Clara smiled, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Clara set off on her journey, her heart full of determination. The path to Crystal Mountain was long and treacherous. Snow fell heavily, and the cold wind bit at her cheeks. The towering trees of the forest swayed in the strong winds, their icy branches creaking like old wooden doors. Clara's boots crunched in the deep snow, leaving a faint trail behind her. But Clara's lantern glowed softly, lighting her way, its golden light creating a small bubble of warmth around her. She hummed a Christmas tune under her breath to keep her spirits high. At times, the snowdrifts were so high that she had to climb over them on her hands and knees. Despite the challenges, she pressed on, thinking of her grandmother's words and the villagers' hopeful faces. Along the way, she paused to admire the beauty of the snow-covered forest, where icicles hung like glittering jewels, and the silence felt almost sacred. Her thoughts turned to the Christmas star, imagining its golden light bringing joy back to Everbright. She clenched her fists tightly, vowing not to let the cold or the fear stop her. Every step forward felt like a victory, her resolve as steady as the glow of her lantern. As she walked through the forest, she heard a faint cry. Following the sound, she found a small, shivering bird trapped under a fallen branch. "Oh, you poor thing," Clara said. She gently lifted the branch and wrapped the bird in her scarf to keep it warm. The bird's feathers were cold and ruffled, and it looked at her with wide, frightened eyes. Clara stroked its tiny head softly, whispering comforting words to calm it. The lantern's light grew brighter, casting a warm golden glow around them. As the bird began to relax, it chirped weakly, as if thanking her for her kindness. Clara smiled and said, "Don't worry, little one. You'll be safe now." She found a small hollow in a nearby tree, lining it with some dry leaves for the bird to rest. "Stay here until you feel strong again," she said gently. The bird gave a cheerful chirp in response, and the lantern's light brightened even more, illuminating Clara's path ahead like a beacon of hope. Clara stood up, her heart feeling lighter, and continued on her journey, inspired by the difference even a small act of kindness could make. "Thank you," chirped the bird. "You are kind, and I wish to help you. Take this feather. It will call me if you need my help." Clara thanked the bird and continued on her way. Further along, Clara reached a frozen river, its surface shimmering like a sheet of glass under the pale light of her lantern. On the ice sat a lonely fox, its silver fur blending almost perfectly with the snowy landscape. Its tail curled tightly around its body to keep warm. "Are you lost?" Clara asked gently, her breath forming soft clouds in the icy air. The fox lifted its head, its amber eyes filled with sorrow. "The snow covered my tracks, and now I cannot find my way home," it replied in a soft, almost mournful voice. Clara knelt on the riverbank, holding out her hand in a gesture of comfort. "Don't worry," she said with a reassuring smile. "I will help you find your way." The fox hesitated for a moment before stepping closer, its delicate paws making faint crunching sounds on the icy surface. "Thank you," it whispered, its voice tinged with relief. Together, They began to walk along the frozen river, Clara's lantern casting a golden glow that melted patches of snow, revealing the path ahead. The fox walked beside her, occasionally glancing up at her with gratitude, its fur catching the light in a way that made it appear almost magical. Clara spoke softly as they walked, sharing her journey and her hopes for restoring the Christmas star. The fox listened intently, its ears twitching with every word. As they reached the edge of the forest, Clara paused and said, "Do you remember this place?" The fox sniffed the air, its nose quivering as recognition lit up its eyes. "Yes," it said, "my den is close now." Clara guided it through the trees until they reached a hollow hidden beneath a snow-covered bush. The fox turned to her and nuzzled her hand gently. "You are truly kind," it said. "Take this silver leaf. It is a token of my gratitude, and it will call me if you ever need my help." Clara took the leaf, its surface cool and smooth in her hand, and tucked it carefully into her bag. "Thank you," she said, her voice warm with emotion. As the fox disappeared into its cozy den, the lantern in Clara's hand glowed brighter, filling her with renewed determination. The forest seemed less dark, the journey less daunting as she turned back to the path ahead. The fox nodded. "The snow covered my tracks, and now I cannot find my way home." Clara smiled and said, "I will help you." She used her lantern to melt a small path through the snow, guiding the fox back to its den. As they walked, the fox occasionally glanced back at Clara, its eyes filled with gratitude. The path wound through thickets and snow-covered trees, but the soft golden light of the lantern seemed to make the journey less harsh. Clara spoke to the fox as they went, sharing her own hopes for the Christmas star. "I'm going to bring back its light for everyone in Everbright," she said, her voice steady and full of resolve. The fox listened, its ears twitching as if it understood every word. When they reached the den, the fox hesitated for a moment, then turned back to Clara. It nuzzled her hand gently before disappearing into its cozy burrow. The lantern glowed even brighter, its light now spreading farther, illuminating the snowy woods like a beacon. Clara felt a surge of warmth in her heart, knowing she had made a difference, no matter how small. She whispered to herself, "Every step counts," and tightened her scarf as she prepared to continue her journey. The forest around her seemed less daunting now, as if her kindness had softened its edges. With renewed determination, Claire pressed on, her lantern lighting the way ahead. "You have a kind heart," said the fox. "Take this silver leaf. It will call me if you need my help." Claire thanked the fox and continued on her journey. Finally, after many days of travel, Clara reached the base of Crystal Mountain. The mountain was tall and covered in ice, and the path to the top looked steep and dangerous. Clara hesitated for a moment, staring up at the towering peak that seemed to pierce the heavens. The wind howled around her, carrying with it the bitter cold that stung her cheeks. She took a deep breath, her hands tightening around the lantern her grandmother had given her. The golden glow seemed to whisper encouragement, as if reminding her of all the acts of kindness that had brought her this far. Clara thought of the Christmas star, and the joy it brought to everyone, and the memories filled her with warmth. She tightened her scarf and began to climb, each step slow and deliberate. The icy rocks were slippery beneath her boots, and several times she had to steady herself to avoid falling. Snow swirled around her like a storm of tiny cold needles, but she pressed on, her determination unwavering. She found herself pausing often, not just to catch her breath, but to marvel at the view around her, the vast white expanse of the kingdom below, dotted with tiny villages nestled in the snow. Climb was grueling, her muscles burning with the effort, but she refused to give up. Every step forward felt like a triumph, her heart beating in rhythm with the steady glow of the lantern. Clara whispered to herself, "The star is waiting, and I must not fail." The higher she climbed, the colder it became. Snow swirled around her, and the wind howled like a wild beast. The icy air seemed to cut through her clothes, chilling her to the bone. Clara's hands trembled, and she felt her strength fading with every step. Just as Clara felt she could climb no further, she remembered the bird's feather. She took it out of her bag and held it tightly, her fingers numb against its soft surface. In an instant, the little bird appeared, its feathers glowing faintly against the snowy backdrop. "You called me," said the bird, its voice gentle but strong enough to pierce the howling wind. Clara's heart lifted at the sight of her small friend. The bird flapped its wings, creating a swirl of warmth around her. "Follow me," it said, its voice filled with encouragement. The bird flew ahead, showing Clara a hidden path that was easier to climb. With the bird's guidance, she avoided dangerous icy patches and found steady ground beneath her feet. The lantern's light grew stronger with each step, as if feeding off the hope Clara now felt. Soon, she could see the peak looming closer, its icy edges shimmering like crystal. Exhausted but determined, Clara whispered a quiet thank you to the bird, her spirit renewed by its help. "You called me," said the bird. "Let me help you." The bird flew ahead, showing Clara a hidden path that was easier to climb. The path was narrow and winding, but it was free of the thick ice that had made the climb so dangerous. Clara followed closely, watching the bird flutter gracefully ahead, its feathers glowing softly in the dim light. At one point, the bird stopped and chirped, warning her of a loose rock that could have caused her to slip. Grateful for the guidance, Clara carefully stepped around it. The higher they climbed, the more Clara noticed how the light from her lantern seemed to merge with the bird's glow, creating a comforting warmth that shielded her from the biting wind. The path took her through a small arch of ice, glittering like a doorway to another world. Beyond it, she saw the peak of the mountain rising sharply into the sky. Her heart leapt with both awe and determination. As they reached a flat ledge near the summit, the bird landed on Clara's shoulder, chirping softly, as if to say, "You're almost there." The lantern's light grew brighter, illuminating the final stretch of the climb. With the bird's guidance, Clara reached the top of the mountain, her heart swelling with hope and anticipation. At the peak, Clara found a small, dark cave. The entrance was framed with icicles that shimmered like crystal chandeliers, and the sound of the wind outside echoed softly within. Inside, she saw the Christmas star. It was lying on the ground, its light barely flickering, surrounded by a faint aura of shimmering frost. Clara knelt beside it, her breath visible in the cold air. She picked it up gently, feeling its faint warmth against her hands, and whispered, "Don't worry, little star. I'm here to help you." The moment her fingers touched the star, a small wave of warmth spread through her, as though the star recognized her kindness. The golden glow flickered weakly, as if responding to her presence, and for a brief moment, Clara thought she saw tiny sparks dancing within its core. The cave seemed to hold its breath, the stillness broken only by Clara's soft voice as she said, "You've been so brave, holding on this long. Let me help you shine again." As she held it close, a faint melody seemed to hum from the star, a sound so soft and pure that it made Clara's heart swell with hope. It was as if the star's light was waiting for her courage to reignite its magic. Suddenly, a shadowy figure appeared. It was the spirit of the mountain, a tall, icy being with glowing blue eyes that seemed to pierce the darkness. Its presence was both majestic and intimidating, the air around it growing colder as frost spread across the ground. "Who dares to disturb the Christmas star?" The spirit boomed, its voice echoing through the cave like thunder. Clara took a step back, clutching the star tightly to her chest. The spirit's gaze locked onto her, its eyes narrowing as if to gauge her intentions. The glow of the lantern flickered, but Clara held her ground. "I am Clara," she said, her voice trembling slightly but gaining strength with each word. "I have come to bring back the star's light, for the people of Everbright need its warmth and hope." The spirit tilted its head, a look of curiosity crossing its icy features. "Many have sought the star, yet none have succeeded. What makes you believe you are worthy?" it asked, its tone sharp but less hostile. Clara's hands shook, but she stood tall, her heart filled with the memories of kindness and courage that had brought her this far. "'Cause I believe in the power of love and hope," she replied, her voice steady. "The star belongs to everyone, and its light should shine for all who cherish its meaning." The spirit remained silent for a moment, the icy air around it growing still, as if even the mountain itself was waiting to hear Clara's next words. Clara's hands trembled, but she stood tall. "I am Clara, and I have come to restore the star's light. The people of Everbright need it. They have waited in darkness for too long, and I cannot let their hope fade away," she added, her voice growing stronger with each word. The spirit of the mountain tilted its icy head, its glowing blue eyes narrowing slightly. "And why do you think you are worthy of such a task?" it asked, its voice as cold and sharp as the wind outside. Clara took a deep breath, her courage unwavering. "I may be small, but I carry with me the kindness and love that the star represents. I've seen how even the smallest act of compassion can light the darkest night. The star's magic is not mine alone. It belongs to everyone who believes in hope and love. The spirit seemed to pause, the icy air around it stilling for a moment. Your words are bold, child, it said slowly. But can you prove them with your actions? Clara nodded firmly. I will do whatever it takes. The star's light must return, not just for Everbright, but for everything it stands for. Christmas is not complete without its glow, and I won't let the darkness win. The spirit studied Clara for a moment. Why should I let you take the star? It asked. Clara thought of all the kindness she had seen and given on her journey. Because Christmas is about hope, love, and kindness. The star's light belongs to everyone, and I believe we can bring those feelings back. The spirit's icy expression softened. You are brave and true, it said. But the star's light can only be restored by someone who truly understands its meaning. Prove your heart is pure, and the star will shine again. Clara took a deep breath. She thought of the bird, so small and fragile, and the way its life was saved by her simple act of kindness. She remembered the fox, lost and cold, and how her determination had guided it home. These moments, though small, were filled with the love and care that the spirit had spoken of. She opened her eyes and spoke softly, her voice steady despite the cold. I have seen how even the smallest acts of kindness can bring light to the darkest moments. This journey has taught me that the true meaning of Christmas is not in receiving, but in giving. The spirit's blue eyes seemed to glow more brightly as it listened. Your words come from the heart, it said, stepping closer. To restore the star's light, you must give it your purest wish, a wish born of love and hope for others. Clara's hands tightened around the star as she made her wish. She wished for the people of Everbright to rediscover the joy of kindness, to find warmth in each other's company, and to remember that love and hope could light even the darkest nights. As her wish poured into the star, its light began to grow stronger, pulsing gently as if awakening from a deep slumber. Clara nodded. She held the star close and closed her eyes. She thought of her grandmother's warm hugs, the joy of helping the bird and the fox, and the happiness the star brought to the kingdom. Her heart swelled with all the moments of kindness and love she had experienced. She remembered the bird's gratitude and the fox's trust, and how each small act of compassion had brought her closer to this moment. As the memories filled her mind, Clara felt a warmth spreading from her chest, as if the love she carried was growing into something greater. A single tear of pure love and hope fell onto the star, glimmering like a tiny crystal in the dim light of the cave. The tear seemed to seep into the star, and for a moment everything was silent, as if the entire world was holding its breath. Then the star began to glow brighter, its golden light spreading in soft waves that illuminated the cave with a gentle, radiant warmth. Clara gasped as the light grew stronger, washing over her and filling her with a sense of peace she had never known. The glow expanded outward as if reaching for the sky, its brilliance uniting with the love and hope that had guided Clara all along. She opened her eyes, and for the first time, the star shone with the same strength and beauty it once had. The spirit of the mountain looked on silently, its icy features softened by the warmth of the star's restored light. In that moment, the star blazed with golden light, the cave filled with warmth and brightness, and the spirit of the mountain smiled. "You have done it," it said. "Take this star and return it to the sky." The warmth of the star's light spread through the cave, melting the icy walls and creating a soft, shimmering glow that seemed to reflect Clara's joy. Clara stood for a moment, holding the star close to her chest, feeling its renewed energy pulsing gently against her fingers. The spirit of the mountain stepped aside, its towering figure no longer intimidating, but serene. "You have shown that even the smallest heart can carry the greatest light," the spirit said, its voice softer now. The bird perched on Clara's shoulder chirped with excitement, and the fox appeared, its silver fur gleaming in the golden glow. Together, they nodded at Clara, ready to help her complete the journey back. As Clara stepped out of the cave, she noticed the storm that had raged before was now gone, replaced by a calm, starry sky. The snow sparkled under the stars' glow, turning the mountain into a dazzling path of light. Clara felt a surge of gratitude and determination. "Let's bring this light home," she whispered, her voice steady and filled with hope. The star seemed to hum in agreement, its brilliance growing with each step Clara took. The spirit of the mountain watched them disappear down the path, a quiet smile on its icy face, knowing that the star was finally in safe hands. The bird and the fox appeared, ready to help Clara. Together, they carried the shining star back down the mountain, their steps guided by the glowing path of light left behind by the star. As they descended, the villagers saw the golden glow from afar and began to gather in the square, their faces lighting up with curiosity and hope. When Clara reached the village, she was greeted by cheers and joyful cries. Children danced in the snow, and the elders nodded with tears in their eyes, grateful for her courage. Clara carried the star to the tallest tree in the square, climbing carefully as the villagers watched in silence. With steady hands, she placed the star on the highest branch. The moment she let go, the star rose into the sky on its own, its golden light spreading like ripples across the heavens. The villagers gasped as the star blazed brighter than ever before, illuminating every corner of the kingdom. Snowflakes sparkled in its glow, and the once dim decorations of the village seemed to come alive. The air filled with laughter and carols as people embraced one another, their hearts renewed by the star's warmth. Clara looked up at the star, her heart swelling with pride and joy, knowing she had helped bring the magic of Christmas back to Everbright. The people of Everbright gathered beneath the star, their hearts filled with its golden light. The entire square seemed to come alive with warmth and joy, as if the star's magic had touched every corner of the village. They smiled and hugged one another, sharing stories of kindness and love that had been forgotten for so long. Families reunited, holding hands as they gazed at the star, its light reflected in their shining eyes. Children laughed and played, their giggles blending with the carols that filled the air. Some villagers knelt to give thanks, while others vowed to carry the spirit of giving into their everyday lives. The village elder, who had lived through many winters, declared it the brightest Christmas he had ever seen. The once dim decorations now sparkled, casting colorful reflections on the snowy ground. Even the animals seemed to join in the celebration, the birds chirping melodious tunes and the foxes peeking out from the edges of the forest. The snow, bathed in golden light, glimmered like a field of stars beneath their feet. For the first time in years, the people felt truly connected, their hearts united by the shared warmth of the Christmas star. They stood together, basking in its glow, and promised to never let its magic fade again. Clara's grandmother hugged her tightly. "You brought back the light," she said with tears of joy. The warmth of her embrace filled Clara with a sense of accomplishment she had never felt before. Around them, the villagers cheered and sang, their voices blending into a harmonious celebration of hope. Clara looked into her grandmother's eyes and said, "I couldn't have done it without everything you taught me about kindness and courage." Her grandmother smiled, her face glowing with pride. "You reminded all of us what truly matters," she said softly. Nearby, the fox sat proudly, its silver coat glinting in the star's golden light, while the bird fluttered joyfully around the tree. Children ran up to Clara, laughing and asking her to tell the story of her journey. Clara knelt to their level, sharing the tales of her adventure and the friends she had made along the way. Her grandmother placed a gentle hand on her shoulder and said, "This is a Christmas none of us will ever forget." Clara nodded, her heart full as she looked back up at the Christmas star shining brightly above. "And it's only the beginning," she whispered to herself, knowing that the spirit of Christmas would continue to grow stronger in the hearts of everyone in Everbright. From that day on, the Christmas star shone brighter than ever, a beacon that reminded everyone in Everbright to keep love, kindness, and hope alive in their hearts. It became a tradition for the villagers to gather beneath its glow every Christmas Eve, sharing stories of kindness from the past year. Children would look up at the star, their eyes sparkling with dreams of spreading joy. The star's light seemed to inspire acts of generosity throughout the year, from helping neighbors to welcoming travelers with open arms. The villagers began creating handmade gifts once more, each crafted with care and love. The forests, rivers, and fields flourished, as if the very land was revitalized by the warmth of the people's hearts. Even travelers passing through Everbright could feel the unique magic of the star, often saying it made them feel lighter and more hopeful. Songs about the star were sung not just during Christmas, but throughout the seasons, their melodies carrying the spirit of kindness far and wide. The animals of the forest, too, seemed drawn to the star's light, often venturing closer to the village during its brightest hours. The Christmas star was no longer just a symbol of the season. It became a constant source of unity and joy, guiding Everbright into a brighter, kinder future. Claire, watching from her window each night, smiled at the legacy of love she had helped restore, knowing that the stars' glow would continue to inspire generations to come.